I think it's okay without microphone, right?
Yeah. Sorry, okay. Say that again.
Good. If we take life and boil it down to the core, there's just two questions remaining. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? What would you choose?
Happy.
Happy, happy, clappy. That's what you say now. But I tell you, when you want to be right, you want to be right. Dead on. The problem is, this is costing you a lot of closeness, affection, positive interaction with other people because you're sitting stubbornly in your corner and being right. She did me wrong. The problem is this technique will not even help you then, because as long as you are in the she did me wrong, no technique in the world will help you. But the thing that I'm going to show you today will teach you, or will allow you by application, to be much more often in the state of allowing happy instead of being stubborn on right. So, any one of you ever been in that situation? Every day, right? Okay, so how would it be about that? I mean, it's actually, you call it in English also a tautology, something that is totally an opposite. Relaxed and success. For whom goes that? For whom goes that in one book? Relaxed and success. Is that on the same page? Yeah? Really? Yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. Few times. Once a century, maybe. Right. 8-80-80 is, I don't want to say the miracle formula, but it's a very interesting concept that can allow you to be much more often in the space of relaxed success. What is it all about? Are you still following me?
Ja, sicher, mein Lieber.
Well, because like, I have often some people then say like, okay, I mean, this can only be crap. Right? It's absolutely impossible, can't be. So now, the impossible part comes now. We're talking about 8 body points, and yes, they're socially acceptable and you can use them in public. An 80-second process, so that's just a bit above 1 minute, resulting in 80% less stress. Okay, I'm saying an 80-second process. I'm not saying in 80 seconds. Sometimes it might even happen in 80 seconds. But it means that the process is very simple, and we'll have a look at it, and that's why I have no jacket on. It was a hands-on workshop, to the true sense of the word. So we will use our hands. What will that be? Oh, EFT! Oh my goodness! No. Who knows EFT? 1, 2, all pros. Well, the thing is that, as you saw, if we're talking about EFT, people cannot put the concept to it. They say, yes, it's a technique. And the thing is, what can we use it for? And we can use it for a lot of things. That's why a documentary about the subject is called Try It on Everything. And which is true, in a way. It really ranges from war trauma to headache. Anything that's possible. And it's an emotional form of acupuncture. So we are taking acupuncture points, we're taking emotions, and no, we don't have a set of needles prepared for you, but we're using no needles but our fingers. For those who don't know EFT yet. Those we have always with us, and we can use our fingers to gently, the notion is gently, right? It's not about self-punishing or something. Gently tap on certain acupressure points to release stress in the body energy system. And, well, why is this relevant? You say, okay, good, acupressure points, I understand acupressure if I have a headache or if I have some pain somewhere, or if I want to increase the function of some organ or something, yes, all right. So how did it come? Well, the basic discovery, and there was a lot of research afterwards and trying to find out what it is all about. Oh. Too late. That was good. So the basic discovery, the basic discovery was made by a psychologist in California called Roger Callahan. And the famous story of Mary, the patient with the water phobia, goes like that. She was in treatment with him. They did some therapy. It didn't work very well. Regular sessions. And he was exploring kinesiology and these Meridian techniques, acupressure. And one day she came to him and said, "Doc, my stomach, I don't think I can do this session today. I don't really feel well." And he said, "Okay, hang on. This is the stomach meridian. Just try tapping here. See whether that calms down your stomach, and then we can do our session." So she was standing and doing the tapping, and suddenly she let a scream, "Ah, it's gone, it's gone, it's gone," and dashed out of the room where they were to the swimming pool. Now, bear in mind, a woman having such a severe phobia of water that she could not take a bath in the water deeper than that because she was so afraid to drown. Walking out of the house while it was raining was an impossibility. So, and now she's racing full speed to the swimming pool. Of course, Dr. Callahan right after her, because those American lawsuits about patient neglection and stuff, thank you, not a really nice thing. But she didn't do anything. She just went to the side of the swimming pool and splashed some water in her face and said, "Okay, well, it's gone. The fear's gone." So that was the first indicator that there actually could be a connection between a fear, an emotional state, and the acupressure system in the body. Several things followed. Dr. Callahan developed a rather complex system of kinesiological muscle testing to find out which meridians are blocked and in which way you have to tap certain points to address certain states, like anger had a different sequence than fear and stuff. And then came along Gary Craig. He learned all that stuff, paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to do the training because Callahan charged really a lot for those trainings. And he found then, okay, well, logical thinking, he was an engineer by trade. If we take 10 minutes to test out all the points that are necessary, and it takes me 1.5 minutes to tap them all, what is the logical conclusion? Tap them all. Very simple. The thing about it is, they had to test out whether it's really not really, whether it's not really a sequence that has to be followed for certain different states. But that was what Gary Craig found out, and it's proven by 10,000s of people right now around the globe. EFT has really become an epidemic, but a very positive one. People use it for so many different things, really, as I said, war trauma to headache, to self-esteem things, fear of flying, or whatever. So, it's very effective. The success rate is very, very high. How does it really work? First, I want to share a little story from one of my clients I've worked recently with. She had a fear of being in an elevator. And she couldn't, even if it was 6 stories, 8 stories, she had to walk on foot. She couldn't go in the elevator and go up with the elevator. The same for airplanes. She hated it to be in tight spaces. So the thing before about Mary and the water phobia was very, very straightforward, right? The fear about water is being tapped on some acupressure points, the fear disappears. Wow, great. So, here we had a case. We were tapping on this water elevator phobia, and we didn't make any headway. It went down, she described it as like a 7, 8 out of 10, and it went maybe down to a 6. But then it didn't move anymore. So then I said, okay, does it remind you of anything in your past? This enclosed feeling? People tell you immediately. I mean, like, people really tell you what it is all about. And she said, well, the only thing that comes to mind, that's already a clue. The only thing that comes to mind, because we only can, even if you have to tell people, now invent something, you can only invent from your own experience, from your own storage, so to say. And the only thing that came to mind was, well, her father was very pushy. And for him, she was always the stupid one, and he always pushed her and wanted her to excel. So when he made her do homework, he was hovering over her, really being a threat, basically. And she felt totally threatened by that. We were tapping on the issue of the father, we removed the issue, the fear, and all this tapping, and her negative self-talk about it. That was an important thing about the whole story, because she put herself down as being the stupid one, not good enough, the one to be blamed, etc., etc. She didn't realize that her brother took a total escape in being totally sick, so that he wouldn't be object to suppression anymore. And she stood it, and she was standing to it, and she was healthy, and stayed healthy. She just was afraid. And we removed that fear, and okay, the elevator in our office building is not that bad. Right? I was looking for a really nice one. But it is an old one, and it's not the really nice ones like here, sorry. And after 3/4 of an hour, she was riding that elevator alone with a fear level of 0 of 10. Right? So there was no fear anymore. So how does this work? The key discovery that Gary Craig postulates in EFT is that the cause of all negative emotions, and now it gets juicy, the cause of all negative emotions is a disruption in the body's energy system. Now, how weird is that? That's pretty strange. To relate negative emotion to something going on in our body, in our Meridian system. But the interesting thing is that one has seen that when you do some kinesiological muscle testing, etc., then you react weak when issues of fear or anxiety or anger or jealousy or any negative emotion is involved. So why is that? If you have a distressing memory, well, let's start here. If you have a negative emotion, well, where does it come from? Negative emotion doesn't come by itself. We do negative emotions by re-evaluating an event that's happening right now and comparing it to something that has happened in the past. We always go immediately into comparison. Like Gary uses always the nice example, who wants to buy a frip-dipple?
What?
Anyone? A frip-dipple.
I'll take the risk.
You take a risk?
Yeah.
Just 1,200 euros. Still taking the risk?
Well, yeah. Depends how you keep looking at me.
Yeah. So what you all did now, you were all going back into your storage, into your subconscious, into your experience, and checking for, what the heck is he talking about? What is that thing? And we do that all the time, constantly. We always go back, and anything I say, you go in automatically in your brain and look for a reflection. Where did I put it? Is it good? Is it bad? Can I stay? Do I have to run? What's going on? Right? So most of the things as you're still sitting made you still sit. So that's good. But if there was something going on that was maybe strange, you might have the impulse to get up and leave. So every negative emotion comes from our past, from a distressing memory. And the interesting fact seems to be there is a step in between. Sort of, if you take a screwdriver and put it into the back of one of those old-fashioned TV things, and you start moving it around a bit, then suddenly the picture will go zzz, and something similar happens to our energy system in our body, and our energy system goes zzz, and by that, the negative emotion appears. That includes the new notion that we have to take responsibility for our negative emotions. Just as a little side gift of this topic. Right? If we remove the zzz, then the negative emotion falls away. The interesting thing is the memory stays, but the emotional charge is gone. And when I've seen that over and over again, and Gary Craig is just now working on a DVD series about war veterans. And he had already done some sessions on that in one of his DVD courses earlier. And it's amazing. There was a person describing more than 100 events that he would scale above a 10 from Vietnam War. So that happened 20 years after the Vietnam War. And that person had been on psychopharmaca for all that time, still slept maximum 4 hours a night, waking up with nightmares. Total pain for that person just to exist. And Gary did with him 3 sessions on 3 different events, brought that down to a 0, and that person worked personally by himself on another 3 issues, and all the other war issues fell away. And without medication, he slept 7 hours then the following night. And no nightmares and emotional freedom. Now think that further. What a possibility do we have about that? I just read recently an article in the newspaper where they're trying to develop some drugs that will eradicate memories. I think we're going a bit in the wrong direction. I mean, just you have your fingers with you all the time. Just use that and take the charge out of the memory. And he really described it. It became a memory like going shopping yesterday. Highly powerful stuff. Thank you. The process, how does it look? By the way, this is interactive. So before you fall asleep, raise your hand and ask a question. Right? So if anything's not clear about what I'm saying, if you have any comment or remark or something, please. Come on. It's very, I'm very interruptible. Let's put it that way. So the process is, evaluate the problem. On a level of 0 to 10, whatever the problem is. But if you're having a problem right now, you know what it is. Right? If you're having generally a problem in life, then you know at least the broad issue. Like, say, want to stop smoking, fear of elevators, speakers, standing on stage, fear of evaluation, fear of rejection, what if they don't like me, what if they don't invite me back, what if they don't recommend me, etc., etc. We're going with all that stuff constantly on stage. And it's not about pushing through. That's the neat thing about it. Normally, if you do like desensitization therapy with people who have a spider phobia or something, and they have the spider like 20 meters away, and then they bring it 10 meters, and it's 5, and then 1, and then they put it on your hand. And, come on, you can't overcome that fear. You can't. Oh, this is torture. This is, I mean, whenever I see something like that on TV, I want to get up and scream at the TV. This is so ridiculous. Causing useless pain. We can use this technique. Say you have been the subject to a robbery, right? When you play that video in your mind, if you think about that event, you already get tension and your pulse is racing and your heart, your hands start to sweat, etc. When you just think about approaching that corner where the robber was behind, then we already take that stage, when it's just a 3, 4, or 5 out of 10, and we bring it down until you can go through that easily, and then you go around the corner, and then you have the burger there, and we bring that down. So gradually and gently. It's a really, if done properly, it's a very gentle process, also for severe things. Well, I'm not talking here about psychological states. If somebody is neurotic, schizophrenic, or has any severe psychotic disturbance, off to a person who knows what to do about it. I'm talking here about the common, everyday life problems that we carry around with us, that we are so used to actually, that we even forget that we have the possibility to be free of it. And that includes the speaker himself. It's the same thing for me. I mean, when I have an argument with my wife, we never argue, we just have discussions. But the point is that she tells me now, keep tapping that. And I said, what should I tap? I'm right. That's why I said, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? And in that moment, in this red hot moment, you don't want to be happy. You just want to be right. Because that was really unfair. But with this, we have the technology to do that. So, evaluate the problem. 0, no stress. 10, as bad as ever. Don't even want to think about it. However, there's a problem. We are so used to rationalize, like the two voices in the head of this girl. Come on, you can do that. Other people do that too. Don't be such a sissy, or whatever you come up with, maybe from your past, what your father told you, your mother told you, etc., etc. We are looking in the EFT, and that's the tricky bit, and that's why it works much better with women than with men. Usually. Only when it's really bad, then the men say, okay, well, maybe there is something. It's not really big. Yeah, I'm a tough man. But we're looking for these red moments of, but I'm scared. What is it? Not what your head says. Well, I can do that. I've overcome it 15,000 times. I'm a professional speaker. I'm standing on stage. Just recently had a case of an American speaker colleague. And she got, I think out of 50 engagements in the last 2 years, she got 2 negative evaluations. And she was scared shitless. Totally amazing. You know, the perception that we put together about past events. And we worked a little bit, and it totally shifted. It's very amazing. So you don't have to push through. If there's something that makes you uncomfortable, that's uneasy, well, there's something you can do about it. So we're looking for that, but I'm scared. I don't care what anybody else says. If I feel lonely, if I feel uneasy, if I feel scared, if I feel angry, resentful, whatever it is, that's what we want to know. Because that's what's behind. And sometimes we're so skillful in pushing our fear or uneasiness away that we outsource it into our bodies. So many people run around with chronic back pains or headaches or high blood pressure and so on. Special cases are people with multiple sclerosis and stuff like that, autoimmune sicknesses where the people have no clue where it comes from, and they have deeply buried emotional things. They were resolved, and it's gone. I recently consulted with a woman, 18 years of back pain, fibromyalgia. Well, looked it up in a dictionary afterwards, and it says, okay, yeah, one doesn't know where it comes from. Just pain in the muscle and so on. Basically, we did about 1 hour 15. It's gone. For good. So, and that's not because I'm so good in it, but that's the power of acknowledging the emotions that you feel, letting them go, and balancing your energy system in your body. So, this is the thing. We are fighting here emotional truths versus logical truths. Logical truths tells us, oh, come on, you can do that. Emotional truth is, but I'm scared, or I feel alone, I feel abandoned, or whatever it is. By the way, just some speakers are not prepared. Pass it along, please. But anyway, the important part for the handout only comes now. That's what people remember. So, how does it work?
What did it say in the last one? It's emotional truth, right?
Versus logical truth. Logical truth is what our rational says. Well, you can do that, there's no problem, many other people do it. Millions of people fly daily in an airplane, why can't I? Right? But the underlying logical truth for that woman that I was talking about before was every instance of closeness or being locked in reminded her subconsciously of the emotional charge she had with her father. And once she had let that go, the emotional charge with elevators, with airplanes, etc. fell away. So sometimes there's something behind that we have to look for. Good. So, as I said, this is a hands-on workshop. So much babbling. Now we go into action. The first part of the process is, after we have evaluated the problem and say, well, my headache is a 6 out of 10 or something like that. Why is that important? The interesting thing is that the shifts in consciousness, or the shifts in awareness, happen so radically that people are afterwards not even aware anymore that they have the problem. And I talk, okay, how are you now? Well, I feel fine. Well, but what about the anger? What anger? Excuse me, you just told me 5 minutes ago it was a 7 out of a 10. Oh, really? No, I don't know. No anger. Sometimes it's really like that. I had people with fear of flying gone in 10 minutes for good. Gone. Bye. But that doesn't happen all the time, and that is when you have to dig for the emotional truth. So, how does the process really work in application? The set of statements, we're acknowledging the problem, even though I have X, Y, Z. Say, headache, this fear, existential fears, you just got the letter for the foreclosure of your house or whatever, right? All these things that can give you nice little impressions in your mind. Even though I got problem X, Y, Z. So we acknowledge the problem. Second step is, still, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And that already does a huge thing. If you only do that, that will already bring you tremendously forward. Because, point 1, it says, I'm having a problem, but I'm okay. This is already, we are so engulfed in our problems that we don't even have any more further space of perception ready to see that we have so much more possibilities still. We are the problem. What we do with this is that we say, okay, even though I have that problem, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And among us, how often do you tell yourselves that you love and accept yourself unconditionally? Once a year? Twice a year? Well, if you're not really into working with your mind and working with your self-perception and so on, I have many enough people who I've talked to, they say, well, I've said it never in my entire life. And there are people 60 years old. So already only that will give you a tremendous boost. If you sit every day and just do 5 minutes of, even though I have problems in my life, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And you say that for 5 minutes, that will already give you some relief. It's not the most skillful way, but it already will do something for you. So the formula is that you repeat that 3 times. It has something to do with clearing the small intestine meridian here.
Do you do that in public? I mean, do people think you're kind of weird when you start tapping yourself in public?
Well, I tap in the car, for example.
Okay, but then
when I'm driving, I rather don't do it at in the junctions, at crossings, right? Because if you're standing at the red light and one of the points is here, maybe not the best thing to do. But when I drive on the highway, it's no problem to do that. Nobody else otherwise sees you anyway, right?
It reminds me to what Meridian was a few years ago. He was speaking, and he tapped on his head, on his forehead.
There are many.
In your direction or?
No. It's right over there. You did that.
There are many ways.
And this is hello, Tiger, I love you.
Yeah, I love that.
There are many ways of interacting with your energy system in your body. There are quote unquote primitive traditions that are reported to do tapping with the whole fist along the arms to activate the meridian system, and that also is powerful. The points that we are describing here are basically there for routine's sake, so that you have a special formula. Those are proven points. Special formula for you to follow for any instance that you have. It's always the same points, So you don't have to think which point do I tap or what or how, or do I have to feel now which point is good for me. Most people aren't able to do that. Some people have the feeling for themselves and see, okay, that here I feel my meridian block. Most people don't have that, especially not in our left brain society. So here got a set of 8 points, it's those points, and you just go through the procedure. So that is set of statement.
Clarification question. 3
Yes.
times means 1, 2, 3?
Oh no, 3, thank you very much. 3 times means 3 times repeating the statement. So even though I have X, Y, Z, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I have, and you repeat that sentence 3 times while you tap on your karate chop point. By the way, body sides don't matter. Left, right, doesn't matter. You can start tapping with your left hand on your right karate chop point, and then continue with the right hand on any point on your body. So it really doesn't matter. One has seen that it's effective in any way.
Martin, I remembered from the course Breakthrough Through Success from Jack Canfield that
Right.
some people are totally reversed and they have to reset themselves.
Right. That is exactly the karate chop point.
Okay.
However, we have different opinions. I know people from Australia, they say, okay, they have tried it in about, 70 or 100 cases, and they did not find a single case of reversal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I suppose that's why this 3 times repetition is there. And anyway, it doesn't really matter whether you tell yourself 3 times that you love and accept yourself. It does you good anyway, right? So, then we use the 8 points that we talked at the beginning about, and a short reminder phrase. And so, say our example is, even though I have this fear of flying, or even though I'm tired, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Yeah? You say that while you tap your karate chop point, and then you go on with the body points and say just, I'm tired, or tired, this tiredness. Something that gets you into the emotion that you are addressing. When you are in the very moment of being deeply in sorrow or in anger or whatever, when you are in the moment of the emotion, you don't need to say anything, just tap the points. The use of the reminder phrase is to give you back some memory, some access to the blocked meridians, to the issue that is in question, right? So, these are the points. First
And
4.
you keep reminding the sentence while you do all the 8 points.
Right, exactly. So there are different variations how to do that. The simplest way is simply to say, if we take Hans' example, tired. So the first point is at the end of the eyebrows. Not right in the middle, where you would say like third eye or something like that, but at the end of the eyebrows in the middle. And use 2 fingers, gently tap 5 to 10 times with both hands, one hand, right side, left side, doesn't matter. So just repeat tired, or I'm so tired.
Is it important to do it in this order, or can you start at point 8 and then do 2 and then...
Basically it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Basically, but we're giving this order because it gives you a routine to follow through.
Yeah.
But basically it doesn't, as far as we have seen, and that is many, 100,000 cases now, it's useless. It doesn't matter which way you do it. So, second point is at the side of the eye, not exactly there where the eye is still soft, of course, right?
My eye hurts.
My eye hurts. Your eye will hurt. But then a little bit back, not back on the temple, but right next to the eye on the bone. 2 fingers gently, 5 to 10 times. I feel tired.
Can you do both fingers at the same time?
You can do both hands if you have the possibility, and you tap both points at the same time. It doesn't matter.
Has to be the middle finger or be another finger?
2 fingers. It's just about stimulating the area. The advantage if you take 2 fingers is that you're covering a little bit bigger area, so you don't have to worry so much about really hitting the acupressure point. But otherwise, if you get the result, it's fine however you do it. Third point is under the eye. So right if you take the middle of your pupil and you go down on the bone. Gently tapping 5 to 10 times. So tired. Under the nose is the 4th point. So it's just between the nose and the upper lip. Point 5 is between the lower lip and your chin. So sometimes it's called for simplicity reason a chin point, but it's actually in the indentation between the lip and the chin. Point 6 is on the collarbone, and there you have the collarbone where it comes into your sternum. And of course, here where there's indentation, it's not so good to tap, but it's on the bone to the left or the right. And there you can use 3 fingers and tap a little bit stronger if you want to. That's totally okay. Point 7 is under the arm. So usually where the bra goes to the back, at least with the female part of the population. If you touch there, you will find that there is a point that is a little bit wound maybe, a little bit sorrow. That is because it's what do you call it, a gland that is not balanced.
Lymph node.
Lymph node, right, thank you. That is not balanced. So that is exactly the point. Yeah? Gently, it's not about punching. So, and the last point is on top of the head. And this is the shortcut version. If you go to Gary Craig's website, emofree.com, and buy the regular DVD, then you have some finger points involved, and that last point is missing. But I use that in, I say 99% of all cases, and it's always effective. So that is usually totally sufficient. So the last point is on top of the head, right? If somebody would pull up your head right at the center, right? Good.
What's the website called?
emofree.com. We'll come later. This handout actually is on my website for download. It's on 5minutesolution.com. The letter 5, minutesolution.com. The number 5, sorry, yeah, of course. The number 5, minutesolution.com.
Minutes, solution, or
no,
minute,
one S.
solution,
One S. minutesolution.com/IFFPS09. IFFPS, International Federation for Professional Speakers. IFFPS09/handout_PDF. So there you can download it and print it out in color because you don't do plain. Yes, color, good. So then you close by reevaluating what has changed. And we have already a guinea pig here. So, how has the tiredness changed?
It's less.
It's less. Can you give it a value?
2 points less.
2 points less. Okay, so that was basically just one round, right? You went round once. Okay. So that's pretty good. If you say it was before an 8, and now it's a 6, that's already an improvement. 2, 3 more rounds, and you might be down to 2, 3, where you feel quite comfortable again. So, 0 to 10. 0, no stress. 10, worse than ever. If necessary, repeat the process. The applications are really manifold. Okay. Do we have cravings? Like, that cigarette, I need that cigarette now. Or, I put on purpose here a man in the picture with all the shopping bags, and, not implying anything. Or spending useless hours in front of the internet watching silly movies in a language that you don't understand anyway, just because you're bored. Or I just say the new buzzword, social media or social networking sites. Facebook, Twitter. What says I'm on all of those, right? Okay, so I'm not saying it's bad, but the dosage makes the poison. Or how about that one? Sometimes an intense craving for chocolate, anyone?
Sure.
Sure.
Right about now.
Right about now? Oh, I can intensify that craving.
From Austria.
I know it's actually heresy to bring Austrian chocolates to Belgium. I profoundly apologize. This is really... But as we were saying, Seth Godin, the purple cow, here it is. That's the purple cow. Yeah. Now I can go as a milk salesman. So, as we were talking now about the theoretical application of the whole thing, we'll now try it out.
You can have the cake.
You can have the cake and eat it. The problem is if I'm, or it's not a problem actually. The point is when I'm done with you, you don't want it anymore. Nee. I'm sorry to be a sports sport, but...
You use this for 3 years now. Always take them back home.
Yeah, I've used them now for the last 3 years. In case the craving comes back. No, the point in all this is, that when we...
It's a question where exactly the point is. You cannot point it out.
Do you wear a bra? No? Okay, never. Then it's about 5 finger wide down from the armpit. So a little bit, it's not exactly in the armpit, but like a hand wide down.
It feels painful.
And it feels a little bit painful usually, unless you have your lymphatic system really balanced. So, the trick in this is, if you are on a plane and you desperately want a cigarette, you can switch off that craving within about 30 seconds to a minute. Same for chocolate, same for shopping, same for anything. It will come back. Now, it will come back, that's proven fact. It might stay away for 3 hours, for 6 hours. It depends on the person. It might come back. Because the chocolate, the shopping, the sex, whatever it is just a replacement. It's a substitution for an emotion that you cannot live.
So you never have sex?
No. I'm talking about substituting. I'm not talking about enjoying. Right? That's a difference. If I do something because I feel compelled to, out of a need to satisfy something, that's a problem. If you have that chocolate, do you really feel satisfied afterwards? There's still this inner void that says, okay, good, but it wasn't really right. That's why people keep shoving food into their mouth, and it doesn't fill the craving or the need that is below and behind. And once we have addressed that issue, that's why so many weight loss programs are useless if they don't take into calculation that aspect. What is actually behind? Why do I do the eating? And if I get that under control, then it's no problem. And then the craving for the food will fall away because it's not necessary anymore because the original emotion has been taken care of.
Right? At the beginning you said replacement for substitution. What did you say after that?
Pardon me?
You said replacement for substitution, and then you said another word.
Okay, I have no clue.
Somebody else?
That's why it's called free speech. Now, you're substituting an emotion.
Emotion.
Right? That is probably what I said. Worse than politicians, right? Don't even remember after 5 minutes what I said before. No, but you're absolutely right. We are substituting a sensation for an emotion that we want to have, for an emotional need that we want to have filled. So that's why I say the craving will come back if you just tap on the craving. So, now I would like to ask you, rank your craving for chocolate on a scale of 0 to 10. For that piece of chocolate in front of you, I'm sorry if it's only Austrian and not Belgian chocolate, but still.
The craving would be higher when it was Belgian chocolate.
It would be higher. Okay, good. You can imagine that it's Belgian. So, rate it on a scale of 0 to 10. If you can remember the number, just remember or write it down. And I will do some tapping. Everybody's got that? Right. Okay. So to make it even better, open the chocolate.
Oh yeah.
Not eat it. And smell it. Smell it. Okay, good. Write down the craving level now.
Only to 10?
You can write 10 plus. That's okay. Okay, not bad, isn't it? So, okay, now we do the tapping. So even though I have this craving for this chocolate, and if you repeat please after me, even though I have this craving for chocolate, and I really love it now, still I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I have this craving for this chocolate, and it's getting worse by the minute, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I have this craving for this chocolate, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Now we use the 8 points. Now we go back to the 8 points. On the eyebrow point, this craving. And that's all what you need. Side of the eye.
So you have to keep thinking of the craving? Or?
Yeah, repeat the word simply. I keep the reminder up. I mean, in case that the craving has already gone. Under the eye, the craving. Under the nose, it's just like 5 to 10 times tapping. Yeah? I want this chocolate. Chin point, this chocolate. Collarbone, this craving for chocolate. Under the arm, this craving for chocolate. And on top of the head, this craving for chocolate. And now take a deep breath. And blow it all out. So now go back and look at the chocolate and rate your craving again. If you want, you can smell it. Did anything change for anyone?
Yep.
It went up. By the way, thank you. This is an important thing. Sometimes it can happen that actually the intensity in the first round intensifies a bit. But that shows that something in your energy system has started moving. You add in the second round or a third round and usually is dropping down quite rapidly. So, anybody having a significant change?
I hate chocolate.
If you want to eat chocolate, can you do it too? Create a craving?
Well, actually,
The smell is
it's
different.
it's a replacement for Viagra.
The smell is
The
different.
smell is different.
Yes, it's
Okay.
sharp.
It's sharp.
Wow.
It is
Yeah.
different.
Interesting. Yeah, it's different, right?
It was very appealing and it's not anymore.
Not anymore. Not at all, or
No, not that I need to eat it.
so. If you were like say an 8 or a 10, and now you were 4 or 5,
Yeah.
then you can go. Just start at the eyebrow point again, and we'll do one more round. Remaining craving. Remaining craving. Side of the eye. Remaining craving. Under the eye. Remaining craving. Under the nose. I still want it a little bit. Under the mouth. Remaining craving for chocolate. Collarbone. Remaining craving for chocolate. Under the arm. Remaining craving. On top of the head. Remaining craving. Take a deep breath again and let it all out. All right. Good. You report to the State of the Nation of chocolate craving. So for you it was already completely gone.
No, it was from 8 to 4, but it's
8 to 4.
lower. It's now more 2 or 3.
2 or 3. Right. Okay.
0.
0. You don't care for chocolate.
But I really crave for sex now.
Well, on the third round you can replace it with sex.
Right at the end of the presentation.
A little bit. Okay. So
Very deep.
you basically see how the process works, and that's why I do it with chocolate, because usually people respond to it and then I say, okay, well, okay, I don't really have to have it now. If I have to, I could eat it just for the habit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. But sometimes even I have people, no, I don't want it, it's disgusting.
Ja, net had ik eens goed
So you can keep it for later when the craving comes back. So, you can apply exactly the same process, and as you may have noticed, sometimes I use just the same phrase to repeat. This craving, this craving, this craving, this craving, this craving. You can do that, or you can rant if you want. Oh, this chocolate, and I love it so much, and I really would like to eat it, and it makes me feel so comfortable, and wow, this would be so good to have it. It reminds me of the love that I never got. What do I know? Yeah, your subconscious brings up the stuff. Just let it flow. Let it rant on.
When you just went through the routine with us,
Yes.
you just did one eyebrow, one side of the eye.
Yes.
You don't have to do it.
You don't have to do
both sides.
both. You can do left hand on the left side, left hand on the right side, right hand on the left side, right hand on the right side. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's as you feel comfortable. Usually, people use their dominant hand. Yeah. So, you can apply this process to anything else. If you're standing on stage, or before you're going on stage, and you go like, this is a really important gig, right? If you're talking to a trade audience, and if they love you, they'll give you 15 follow-up bookings. Oh, this is a really important gig. I really want to get that done well. And you go like, in a way, and say, okay, I'm so stressed about getting this right. I'm so stressed. Just the important thing, that's why I say it's for women easier than for men, get in touch with your emotion. And that's sometimes hard. Men only, you'll know two emotions, angry or angry. Okay, I know I'm generalizing. I apologize with everyone who doesn't follow up on this. Okay. So, point is, whatever you feel can be tapped on until you feel the relief of it. If you don't get a relief, so if you do 2, 3, 4 rounds and it doesn't drop significantly, then it might not be the same thing. You might not tap the right emotion. I had people, they were actually tapping on anger and nothing moved. And that it was actually hate or revenge that they felt. And this sometimes goes is a little bit close to each other. And so we're not really used to name our emotions that we feel. Usually we just know we're feeling good or bad, right? Okay, angry in between. All right. But it takes a little bit of experience to get in touch with our emotions again, and that's actually very rapid.
Does that mean that you really have to understand your own emotions? Because
Helps.
otherwise you'll probably be tapping
Helps.
the wrong thing over and over again.
Several aspects to this. Would be now too long to answer that in full, but in short, for example, you carry around subconscious emotions with you all the time, right? We carry all the past resentments, rejections, and stuff what we have experienced in the past. We all carry that around, and we have it subconsciously activated, so it's with us. And one example is that Australian guy that I mentioned before. He's doing a retreat where they do tapping on several things for days. And during that 4-day retreat, I believe, on the second day, they went to a market, and one of the participants found out that she lost her phobia of snakes, even though she hadn't addressed it those 2 days at all. So it was subconsciously present, and by tapping, she relaxed that as well and fell away. So that can happen. But if you want, as we are in our immediate gratification society, we want results now, then it's very good that you can pinpoint as exactly as possible. And for example, it's also good if you find that there are some past issues about this, usually there are, and that's something a bit bigger, then don't tap on the abuse of my father, right? And he was beating me in my childhood. But if you really can focus in on a specific incident, and now this is really going already deep, right? Say, okay, the day after my 12th birthday when my father locked me in the cupboard and left me alone for 2 hours and I felt so abandoned and alone. That is a very specific incident. You can reduce that one very swiftly usually to a 0 and it falls away, and your subconscious then realizes, okay, that the other events in that series, if you take one more or another one, then usually they say, okay, they are all of that kind, and if I'm okay with those 3, all the others are the same, right? But if you are in a right now situation, red hot, you have to go out on stage in front of 1,000 people, never spoken in front of 1,000 people before, 300 was the max, can I really manage? And they have a TV camera, and then go, okay, all the stress that I have. And sometimes then later on it's good to go a little bit more in depth or whatever. Right, yes please.
I have a friend who has the same disease you talked about.
Right.
Now, I know she's very rational. This can't help her, then I very much doubt if she will be open to this.
Mm-hmm. Well, the story of the woman was that There were several issues behind, like a resentment to herself that she shouldn't go to that job first of all, because it started exactly when she joined that company, and she was very successful there, but still she felt it wasn't really right for her. And the pressure of her father, who was very loving and so on, but he was always like, okay, push it through, always the marathon runner survives at the end and so on. And that was the attitude she was raised with. And she put that onto that job, so rationally, she couldn't accept that actually there was something going on. And when we are outsourcing in this way, our emotions, they show up somewhere else in our body. And so it would be worth a try. Usually then people, when they start tapping, they get a bit more in touch with their emotions.
But if she says, I don't believe in this.
Well, how bad do you want change?
Yeah, I would like to.
Yeah, well, you don't have the sickness. That's the problem.
The question is interesting. Is this a technique that requires really putting the effort in? When you take
Sometimes.
a medicine, it has an effect, and you don't have to believe in it. It just does that to you.
Well, so often medicines don't work,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
the effect wears off. You have to take it consistently, or it just kills the symptom.
Yeah.
But the neurological change remains.
Yeah.
So several issues with that. Yeah. Yes, please.
Allow me to make an additional comment on that.
Please.
Yes. I've done quite a lot of work on release techniques.
Uh-huh.
And the mind, actually as smart as it is, it's often an empty file cabinet. We just do not know the solution.
Right.
And the mind wants to play smart ass and doesn't know it. So one of the main things in release techniques is just stop trying to figure it out. And that's a decision.
Yeah.
So as long as you try to figure this out, there's no way it's going to work. So it's going to be a placebo, it's going to be a nocebo, it's never going to work. So if you just, whoever it is, it has the willingness to say to yourself, I'm going to stop trying to figure it out. I'm going to stop to disapprove of myself that I can't figure it out. I'm just going to allow this. You mentioned the word allow, which is one of the most important words.
It's very important.
Allow this to work for me, then it'll work.
Yeah.
So
Important thing
that is
is,
so important to stop figuring it
let
out.
me just finish quickly. Important in this is, as I said before with that snake phobia, you can let go subconscious patterns. But the point often is that we have a secondary gain out of our sickness. We get attention, we get affection, we don't have to do this or that. We can finally, because we can't move anymore, our beloved husband or wife have to comply with what we want, and we don't have to tell them what to do, etc. There are many, many different components, but I'm already going over my time for that. So, the same is valid for affirmations. Who knows about affirmations? Ever heard of that? You tell yourself beautiful things over and over again until you finally believe them and they become true. And so often it doesn't work for people. Well, I claim that they always work. The problem with affirmations is, if you're 150 kilograms and you say, and positive in the present tense affirmation, I am weighing 80 kilograms and that is who I am. Perfect example, taken straight from Gary Craig's wonderful